Ladies and gentlemen, singing his hit made famous by artists such as the Jackson 5, Isaac Hayes, and the Beegie Adair Trio with Take 6, please welcome Clifton Davis.
Never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. I never can say goodbye. Even though the pain and heartache seem to follow me wherever I go. Though I try and try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. Then you try to say you're leaving me, and I always have to say no. Tell me why. Is it so that I never can say goodbye? No, 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 I never can say goodbye. Every time I think I've had enough, start heading for the door, there's a very strange vibration, pierces me right to the core. Says, turn around, you fool. You know you love her more and more. Tell me why. Is it so? Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye, girl. Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye, girl. I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. Say goodbye. I keep thinking that our problems soon all gonna work out. There's that same unhappy feeling, there's the anguish, there is the doubt. It's that same old dizzy hang-up, can't do with you or without. Tell me why, is it so? Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye, girl. Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. Don't wanna let you go. I can't do it, I can't say goodbye. No, darling, I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. Put your loving arms around me. Hold me, baby, oh, darling. I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. You're my one and only lover. I don't want another. No, baby. I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome to our tribute to the legendary Beegie Adair. Yes. It is my humble privilege to serve as your host this evening. Thank you all for joining us here at the historic Franklin Theater, or wherever you may be watching on the internet somewhere around the world.
We're happy that people are live streaming on, Pickle Jar Plus around the world. And thank you to the Franklin Theater for hosting this event. Give it up for the Franklin Theater. Special thanks have also to go out to the Nashville Jazz Workshop for their support in this event tonight. Thank you very much. Bobby B.G. Long Adair passed away on January 23rd, 2022, at her home in Franklin, Tennessee. She was 84 years old. For those of us who knew and loved her, whether in person or through her music, a bright light had been obscured, shrouded in grief, and with heavy hearts, we mourned that loss. But that light was dimmed and not extinguished. You see, with every recollection of her laughter and love, her light still shines, and our spirits are illuminated. With every melody of her music, her light still shines brightly once again. And while B.G. may be gone, she left us a rich legacy of laughter and love and memories, and the greatest treasure of all is her music that will enrich the lives of friends, family, and fans for generations to come. So tonight, we are here to celebrate the life and the legacy of our beloved B.G. We have gathered a stellar array of musicians and friends to lift your spirits and brighten your lives with songs that B.G. loved and stories that reflect her love and her humanity. Tonight, you're going to hear some of B.G.'s favorite musicians play some of her favorite songs, some she's recorded, while others were personal favorites that she rarely shared. Please allow me to introduce Laurie Mechem, Roger Spencer, Rick Reed, playing How High the Moon.
Hi, this is Billy Stritch, and I'm so happy to be part of this great celebration honoring our dear friend and wonderful musician, Beegie Adair. Here are two songs that she played so beautifully, and I'd like to sing them for her and for all of you. Autumn in New York, why does it seem so inviting? Autumn in New York, it spells the thrill of first nighting. Glittering crowds and shimmering clouds in canyons of steel, they're making me feel I'm home. It's autumn in New York that brings the promise of new love. Autumn in New York is often mingled with pain. Dreamers with empty hands may sigh for exotic lands. Autumn in New York, it's good to live it again. The falling leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves of red and gold. I see your lips, the summer kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I'll miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall. Autumn in New York transforms the slums into Mayfair. Autumn in New York, you'll need no castle in Spain. Lovers that bless the dark on benches in Central Park. Green autumn in New York, it's good to live it again.
Hello, I'm Ann Logan, and I am a longtime friend. I'm not close enough? Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm a longtime friend and fellow animal advocate of Bee Gees. So I will be talking to you tonight about our work together and our friendship. As we celebrate the many wonderful qualities and accomplishments of Beegie Adair, I remember how she often described herself as a piano player. Given her exceptional talent, style, and success, if you ever want a great example of an understatement, I say use that one. My relationship with Beegie began as a fellow animal advocate. I first heard her name in 1979. We had just moved to Franklin from Nashville when I faced a heartbreaking situation with a homeless pet. One of the first things I learned about this community I love was that in 1979, we had no humane option for homeless animals. I didn't know then that this harsh reality would lead me to Beegie, but it did. Out of desperation and new to the community, I asked my vet if he knew anyone I could talk to about this. I will never forget his answer, Beegie Adair. From that moment on, her name, and then Beegie herself, had a special place in my life. She gave me hope before I even knew her. It would be months before Beegie and I connected when we both joined a new local nonprofit whose mission was to buy land and build an animal shelter. Our relationship grew from there. We fought the good fight with that effort for almost 5 years before moving on. After a summer of floundering, I called Beegie and asked her what she thought of starting a different nonprofit, one that focused on prevention of pet homelessness through spay, neuter, and education. Beegie loved the concept. I have always believed that if Beegie had said no that day, I would likely have given up. But she didn't. She said yes and volunteered to use her musical talents to write a jingle that we could provide to music teachers in elementary schools. She titled her jingle, "One is Wonderful," as a clever way to teach young children about the value of spaying and neutering their pets. In 1986, the organization became People for Animals, since being people for animals was a part of who we both were. Beegie was an incorporator and founding board member of PFA. In addition to our focus on spay-neuter, PFA also began an energetic advocacy for our county's woefully underfunded shelter. We had great success with proposals to the county for physical improvements, qualified leadership, humane euthanasia, and of course, mandated spay-neuter for shelter animals. From those extremely humble beginnings, decades ago, with much work on the part of many and exceptional financial support from the county, our county's shelter is now a progressive model and resource for others in the state and even the country. Most of my time with Beegie was spent sharing ideas and solutions to the challenge we faced as we volunteered in countless ways on behalf of animals. Occasionally, we also had lunch or talked on the phone about other things in our lives, including joyous and heartbreaking times with our own animals. During one of those talks, she surprised me by inviting our son to a recording session here in Franklin. just because she knew he wanted to become a musician himself. What a thrill and inspiration in a young guitarist's life. Another memorable event in my mind was Beegie's 50th birthday party, which she threw for herself. Such great style my thoughtful, treasured friend had. I see parallels between Beegie's music and her animal advocacy. I think her touch at the piano was much like her touch in speaking. Soft, but moving and always worthy of your attention. When Beegie played, people listened. When Beegie spoke, people listened as well. Her words were sometimes offered at critical moments when something difficult needed to be said, and others didn't have the courage or the right words. I deeply admired and respected that. I will close by saying that in addition to my memories of Beegie as a longtime friend and fellow advocate for animals, I am especially grateful now that I will also always have her music. The beautiful, uplifting sound she created at the piano never failed to connect me to the support and inspiration she provided, the consequential volunteer work we did together, and the cherished friend that she was. I hope to always have that.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ernie Reynolds, which doesn't matter very much, but I'm a friend of Beegie's, and I was honored to have the opportunity to speak tonight. And I prepared comments. I realized that I'd never thought of it, but that I was kind of a member of Beegie's very own Rat Pack. She attracted doctors and publishers, engineers, even a tree guy, and of course, musicians of all stripes. She knew how to make everyone feel welcome. She knew how to make everyone feel that they were interesting. And she had the ability to engage on many subjects and a lifelong intellectual curiosity. I never witnessed this daughter from Cave City, Kentucky, in a conversation or a circumstance that she didn't and couldn't gracefully meld herself into. Other people probably will and certainly can speak more to her phenomenal music career than I can, but in a couple of minutes I want to tell you about two aspects of Beegie's life that many of you know that didn't necessarily involve the piano. First, she was a terrific neighbor and citizen in this, her beloved Franklin. She and Billy knew exactly where they lived, and they could see beyond the present, which is a gift. They could also see into the past and its value. And more importantly, they could see into the future. They believed, like hopefully all of us, that this is a magical place. And her support for historic preservation here in Franklin, including this facility, as well as her many other generous contributions to our downtown neighborhood, will have sustaining value. Finally, I want to tell you something that you probably know, that Beegie was a closeted librarian. In fact, I always thought that she was just sort of on permanent loan from the Western Kentucky English Department. We had many conversations over bourbons that ranged from the Leuven brothers to Hemingway, or from Flannery O'Connor to Bobby Gentry. Beegie got how an author can manage multiple POV shifts in harmony, just like the Leuvens, or how a couple of short clipped sentences can evoke tension through tone and pace on the page, just as ivory keys and stringed instruments and percussions can interpret a song's lyrics. She was one of those rare people that had a passport through artistic languages like she got, that those 26 letters in our alphabet are no more powerful as a mute Steinway's 88 keys until master takes charge. Not too long before she left us, BG gave me a thesaurus she thought I could use. For those of you who don't know, I'm an English professor at Florida State University, so state school, what can I say? I'm not sure if it was a comment on my vocabulary, kind of like you're not sure when someone you didn't ask offers breath mints. But this thesaurus is a hardback door stopper of a book with over 200,000 words or phrases carved out from those 26 letters. But even with all those words as ingredients, it's really, at the end of the day, only a dictionary. And it reads, if you sit down and go page by page, like a phone book, until someone, some master, plays those words into meaningful language, a song's verses, an evocative poem, a work of prose, something well written with significant action. Beegie lived her life doing just that. Making meaningful, significant art as a master of the Steinway's 88 and the language's 26. It's been said that when we move on, the adjectives and adverbs that are attached to us will go away too in people's memories, that will only be nouns and verbs. And I'm sure everyone here could associate several nouns or verbs to BG that would make them smile tonight. I put down on page here a few of mine. I start with savant, star, artist, reader, writer, philanthropist, preservationist, advocate, fighter, social reformer, and animal lover. But my favorite, by far, that I think of when I think of BG is friend. Rest in peace, BG.
One of BG's favorite people to work with was Jeff Steinberg. Jeff's orchestrated many albums for BG over the years, and Beegie Adair's Trio's sound was so distinctive that, unlike most artists who would record around the orchestrations, Jeff would orchestrate around the trio. While not an easy task, it captured the trio's signature sound, something their audience almost always could immediately identify, and Jeff enhanced with lush strings. Please help me welcome Jeff Steinberg on the piano, Jim Ferguson on bass, Rick Reed again on drums, Andy Reiss on guitar, Denis Solee on sax, and Charlie McCoy on harmonica. Please give them a round of applause. BG met Delbert McClinton years ago at a Grammy event in Nashville. He loved hearing her play so much that he just wanted to hang out with her at the piano and talk about songs. Always modest, she never thought he knew who she was. But when she asked him to sing a couple of songs on her Grover's Hat project in 2016, he said yes without hesitation. A close musical bond was formed and a friendship. And performing tomorrow night, from Grover's Hat Project, please welcome Delbert McClinton.
you said tonight. Tomorrow night, well, all the thrills be gone. Tomorrow night, will it be just another memory, or just another lovely song that's in my heart to linger on? Your lips are so tender, your heart is beating fast, and you willingly surrender. Tell me, darling, will it last? Tomorrow night, will it be just another memory, or just another lovely song that's in my heart to linger on? Lips are so tender, your heart is beating fast, and you willingly surrender. You willingly surrender. Tell me, darling, will it last? Will it last? Tomorrow night, will you be with me when the moon is bright? Tomorrow night, will you say those lovely things you said tonight? Thank you.
Hi. Great to see you all here this evening. Thank you for being here. Beegie Adair loved music, and that's one of the things I really loved about Beegie. And she had so many favorite songs, it was kind of tough to pick out the top 10. But this, I think, is in the top 10. This was one of her favorite songs, Moonglow, and it features one of her favorite people, musician and longtime collaborator, Jim Ferguson. Here's Moonglow.
It must have been moonglow, way up in the blue. It must have been moonglow that led me straight to you. I still hear her saying, dear one, hold me fast. And I keep on praying, oh Lord, please let this last. We seem to float right through the air. The heavenly sounds seem to come from everywhere. And now when there's moonglow way up in the blue, I'll always remember that moonglow gave me you.
Hi, I'm Clifton Davis. And if I had to describe Beegie Adair in one word, that word would be gifted. Because that woman was gifted. A gifted musician, a gifted songwriter, a gifted pianist and arranger. And I'm so proud to have known her.
Joyful. And I say that because every time I think of BG, I smile.
If I could describe BG in one word, it would be kind. She was one of the kindest people. No, she was the kindest person I've ever known.
If I could describe BG in one word, it would just be amazing.
There's so many good words. Trustworthy.
It's difficult to describe Beegie Adair in one word, but I would have to say artist, creative, interpreter, performing, and award-winning artist.
BG, in a word, was professional. She had a way of playing that seemed effortless. It was smooth and precise. She was truly gifted.
Authenticity. I mean, you feel the emotion of the lyrics when BG plays a song, even though it's an instrumental piece. And that is just a testament to her authenticity.
Authentic. BG was an authentic human being. No pretense, no airs. She was just BG.
How do I put BG into one word? I think it would have to be a new name. Be joyful. BG's given so much joy to people around the world with her music, with her groove, and with her melodies. She was one soulful individual, and I'll always treasure the time that I've had with her, and I know we all feel the same way. We love you. Keep swinging wherever you are.
think they sandwiched me speaking in between two songs I had to play, and I may be out of breath a little bit. But Bee Gee loved people. She loved animals. She loved stories. She loved life. But most of all, she loved music. And she was an encyclopedia of the great American songbook. She knew all the great songs, the lyrics, the composers, what show or movie it was from, when it was written, and if appropriate, probably who the main character actors were in the movie. She knew the right chord changes and maybe a few good options. And she knew what the song was about. And you could hear it in her playing. By the time I moved to Nashville in 1974, she was a pretty well-established icon in the music business. And she was in the house bands of the Ralph Emery Show and the Noon Show. She was an A-list call for hundreds of record sessions and jingles and TV shows. And I was lucky enough to get to know her and play with her in my early years in Nashville. And I was lucky to still be playing with her many years later. Her talent was enormous. She heard things that mere mortals couldn't. Anyone who played or sang with her was always amazed by how she could make everyone else sound better. Everybody wanted her in their bands. She was a key player in so many important musical groups in Nashville's growing years. The Carl Garvin Band, Orchestra 12, a fusion band called Sweet Thunder, and another one called 2002. And then there was the Adair Solee Quartet, which was Bee Gee, her husband Billy, the great Morris Palmer on drums, and myself. And that morphed into the part-time, big-time bebop co-op, which was together for several years, playing back in the days when JC's was active in Green Hills. And if I failed to mention some of the more significant bands that she was with, and there were a lot of them, I apologize. I just wanted to touch on a few. But anyway, I relate a story that she used to tell, courtesy of her friend Monica. And before graduating from college, Bee Gee was working in Printer's Alley, which at that time was the only nightlife in Nashville. I mean, Nashville was nothing like it is now. It was kind of a big little town. And anyway, Printer's Alley was where the action was at night. And that's where she was. And she was playing with folks like Boots Randolph and the legendary guitarist Hank Garland. And Chet Atkins, who was, of course, a major artist in his own right, was also a promising A&R man for RCA. And he discovered Bee Gee playing in a nightclub in Printer's Alley. He told her to come to the studio the next day, and he'd find a place for her on a project he was working on. Floyd Kramer was already booked for the session. So Chet had her play a train whistle. And that was the start of a relationship. Anyway, Chet continued to hire her for years for various studio projects, which included folks like Perry Como and Henry Mancini. Her reputation was spreading. She was in the house band for, like I said, the Ralph Emery Show and the Noon Show. She was on the weekly Johnny Cash show with the Bill Walker Orchestra. Her star was rising. She continued to develop long-term musical relationships and friendships with artists that carried on through her whole career. And I'm sorry, tonight, George Tidwell could not be here. In fact, he was supposed to be making this speech, but he would be able to give a more complete anthology of some of VG's earlier musical activities in Nashville. But so I mentioned also she and her husband Billy had for several years had a small jingle company back when you could still make money making jingles. And VG and I did several album projects together, produced by our good friends Greg Howard and Jack Jezreel. And during this period, when VG's album sales started to really climb, she was able to start booking out-of-town gigs with her trio. And she liked to tell stories, and one she liked to tell when I was around was about a lady in St. Louis, I think. The trio was playing a private party or something. Roger would know, but that's unimportant. The important thing is she was there signing albums and after the gig, and this woman came up and she told BG how much she loved her music and how she had almost all of her albums. But she had gotten this one album that she didn't like as nearly as well because it had saxophone on it. And BG said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I just said, so what album was that? And VG told her, the album was Sinatra on sax. So anyway, she saw the humor in people and in life and everywhere. And I miss her very much. And the next one, when I said George was supposed to be speaking, yes, and he was also supposed to be playing, he wrote a beautiful little tune dedicated to BG several years ago, and he was going to play it here, but I was recruited to try and do it some sort of justice. It's called Sweet BG.
Charlie McCoy here. I was just playing a little bit of the title song from one of my very favorite albums, Over the Rainbow. What made that album so special was the amazing piano of Beegie Adair. Beegie had a way that no matter how much she improvised, you could always feel the melody. And that's something that a lot of jazz players never do get the hang of.
I will always remember Beegie for beautiful music that was accessible, and I think that's why people loved her so much all over the world. And I don't know if this is where she would like for me to remember her, but I see her at the piano in the corner of F. Scott's.
One night, I was playing at F. Scott's with her, and there was a table, if you remember how small that room was, there was a table inches from BG, and this lady was sitting there talking with a group of other people about somebody named Tom. I should say his name. I don't know. Tom sounds fine. And she was ranting about how Tom, was rude to her and how Tom such and such and such and such. And BG leaned back, she said, while in the middle of playing, "So, Tom, tell me more about him. I want to hear more." I was
Ranger Doug with Riders in the Sky. Here just to say what a wonderful opportunity this is to celebrate the life and the music of Beegie Adair. But I considered her a friend, and it was a great thrill to appear on one of her records. So let's celebrate her wonderful life and legacy today, because it's the cowboy way.
I'll always remember BG as that little woman sitting at the piano, never playing a wrong note, and just loving what she did.
What is your favorite Beegie Adair memory? That would have to be our interview chat in 2009. When asked for her final comment, she had this to say about learning a tune. "Listen to at least 5 different versions of it," she said. "The world needs you doing your own thing, not a clone."
I remember BG as certainly one of the most gifted jazz musicians, as we all will. She had the ability to see it, to hear it, and then it came out in her hands. Like all great professional musicians, she hardly played it the same way twice, but every take was perfect every time.
That wonderful, mischievous smile that she always had when she sat down to start playing a song. That look on her face and the stories she would tell, the laughter in her voice.
One of my favorite memories of BG is when we went to Tokyo, Japan. She was doing some shows there, and we were promoting a new Green Hill release in conjunction with EMI Japan, and we had flown for 14 hours, changed planes. I had to drag BG through the airport practically. And when we got to the hotel, the entire night staff was there lined up in front of the front door when our van pulled up just to welcome BG. I mean, it must have been 3 o'clock in the morning their time. And there had to be a dozen staffers standing there greeting BG and bowing to BG, and they were taking pictures of her. And all BG wanted was a scotch and to go to bed. But she was so gracious with all of her fans in Japan. That's just a special memory that I thought, wow, BG is a rock star in Japan.
She was a trailblazer for women in the music scene. She learned early on that there's a selfless act in music, and she really passed that on to generations after her, including me, and the way that we not just carry ourselves on the stage, but the way that we carry ourselves around our peers, and the way we should help each other and be there for each other. I will always remember her for being extremely generous.
you, Beegie.
Eric Diltz is the managing director of the Franklin Theater and a good friend to many on this stage tonight. When Monica Ramey was beginning to consider venues for a memorial, Eric reached out to her and asked if the Franklin Theater could host this special event. BG was fond of the theater, and what's more, Eric and the theater were so very fond of BG. We owe a great deal of thanks to Eric and the Franklin Theater for hosting this event tonight, so please help me to share a warm welcome to Mr. Eric Diltz.
Thank you, Clifton. Hi, everyone. Before I was the managing director here at the Franklin Theater, I was the executive director at the Nashville Jazz Workshop. One of my biggest fans. So BG and I had in common a mutual love for both organizations, what they stand for, and their beautiful venues. So I'm thrilled and honored that the Franklin Theater is hosting tonight's event with my friends from the Jazz Workshop. I think BG would have loved the collaboration. I remember always being in awe of BG's performances because she would sell out everywhere she went. And not just sell out, but her loyal fans would travel from all over to see and hear her play. I remember one evening at the Jazz Cave, we had patrons drive in from St. Louis, Charlotte, Atlanta, and one gentleman flew in from San Diego just to hear BG play in a small, intimate listening room. I was amazed at that kind of love for BG and her music. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to work with BG here at the theater, but I can just imagine her playing in her hometown of Franklin, at her local Franklin Theater, with a sold-out crowd from all over, listening to every note and applauding with the greatest of joy. BG will be missed, but I am so glad I had the opportunity to work with her and to hear her play. And now I'd like to introduce one of BG's favorite singers, who is also a favorite here at the Franklin Theater, singing BG's favorite song, Stardust, the great Mandy Barnett.
Thank you. This is for my dear friend, BG. And now the purple dusk of twilight time steals across the meadows of my heart. High up in the sky, the little stars climb, always reminding me that we're apart. You wander down the lane and far away, leaving me a song that will not die. Love is now the stardust of yesterday, the music of the years gone by. Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely nights dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie, and I am once again with you. When our love was new, and each kiss an inspiration. But that was long ago. Now my consolation is in the stardust of a song. beside the garden walls, when stars are bright, you are in my arms. The nightingale tells this fairy tale of paradise where roses bloom. Though I dream in vain, in my heart you will remain my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain. Beside the garden wall, when stars are bright, you are in my arms. The nightingale tells its fairy tale of paradise where roses bloom. Though I dream in vain, in my heart you will remain my stardust melody, the memory of love's
Thank you. And Charlie McCoy.
I think I have it on. Okay, I really don't want to play after that. I should just get out. Get out. Oh, man. Tamir Hendelman, what a player, right? Yeah. He certainly loved Beegie, and as we all do. I just want to speak a little bit about the Nashville Jazz Workshop and what she did for the Jazz Workshop. 25 years ago, Roger and I decided to open our doors, just try one class and just see how it works. Well, that went pretty well. We had some folks sign up. I was teaching at Belmont University, and so some of the kids came from there. And anyway, we just tried it. We didn't know if this was going to work. I told Beegie about it, a couple other friends, and they were like, yeah, well, this will be great. So Beegie was really instrumental helping us start the Nashville Jazz Workshop. One of the things I loved just with her is she wanted to start the Great American Songbook series that we did for singers. Well, I had no idea what she was about to embark on. And she said, okay, we're going to do George Gershwin, we're going to do Cole Porter, we're going to do Harry Warren, we're going to do Johnny Mercer. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So she would copy all these, sheets, sheet music, and I'd sit behind her. She would teach the class, and some of those people on here, Annie Selick, I think Liz Johnson is here tonight, Christina Watson. She taught some of these folks, and sitting behind her, she knew, just like Denis said, there was not a lyric she did not know. She knew every verse and every key, and I thought she was a freak. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. But I just, I kept working with her, and now we have this wonderful, certificate program that we offer at the Nashville Jazz Workshop and the Great American Songbook. That's due to Beegie Adair. So she was on our board, and our board meetings would be at Blackstone Brewery. You had to have a beer, you had to have a drink. We had to discuss really important financial things. So, speaking of the great music that she loved to play, she loved Thelonious Monk, and she played a lot of his tunes. And so we're going to do one for you tonight called In Walked Bud.
Beegie, what I would love to say to you is thank you for taking me under your wing, teaching me, encouraging me. You've changed my life. I couldn't imagine my path without you, and I want you to know how special you are to me, always will be.
You know, Beegie, there's just this giant hole and she's going to be missed. And there's this incredible legacy that we can all remember, and we can all smile, and we can all still listen to the incredible music that she created.
What an honor it was to meet her. And I hope that she and my grandmother are making beautiful music wherever they are now.
Beegie, not a day goes by without millions of people listening to your music. And not a day goes by when all of us do not feel your presence. And not a day goes by that I don't know how lucky I am to have you in my life. We celebrate you today and always, and love you very, very much.
If I could say some final words to BG, it would be that I miss you, miss having you here, miss your warm smile and your personality. Thank you, Beej, for blessing us with so much timeless music that is so unmistakably Beegie Adair.
Beegie, I am confident you are in heaven with your Steinway Grand, playing with the chorus of angels, and of course, teaching them the great American songbook.
Beegie, you left us with such an amazing legacy of song. Your music catalog is immense, and it's going to be discovered for years and decades to come by people who will be here long after I'm gone. And it's an amazing gift you've left us. So thank you for sharing that, for letting me be a small part of that journey with you.
If I could speak to BG now, I would certainly thank her. Let her know how deeply missed she is, and will always be, of course. But I would thank her because she changed my life, and there are so many people that our lives would never be the same because of her. And so many people watching this and that are in this room with us will live with gratitude for what she's done for them. And I think that's a wonderful gift, to love that much and to be loved in return the way that she was. I would want her to know that.
We miss you a lot, BG. I know the band up there is a whole lot better. So you RIP, and we're so glad we knew you.
Over the past decade, Monica Ramey became a vital part of Bee Gee's life, managing her career, booking her in historic venues like Carnegie Hall and Birdland Jazz Club in New York City. They owned a small music company together and took care of one another during the pandemic. They were close friends and confidants and peers. They were family. Long before Monica was even born, a 16-year-old Bobby Gorin Long was in the car with her parents, who were driving her to Western Kentucky University to begin her freshman year of college. Yes, 16 years old, headed to college. She skipped 2 grades in school. June Christie's voice filled the car with a Billy Barnes song that would become Christie's biggest hit. Bee Gee fell absolutely in love with the recording immediately, a love that never wavered throughout her life. Here to perform it for you now is Jeff Steinberg and the incredible Monica Ramey.
Something cool. I'd like to order something cool. It's so warm here in town, and the heat gets me down. Yes, I'd like something cool. It's nice to simply sit and rest a while. Now I know it's a shame I can't think of your name. I remember your smile. I don't ordinarily drink with strangers. I must usually drink alone. But you were so awfully nice to ask me, and I'm so terribly far from home. Like my dress, I must confess, it's very old, but it's simple and neat, just right for the heat. Save my furs for the cold. A cigarette, well, I don't smoke them as a rule, but I'll have one. It would be fun with something cool. I bet you couldn't imagine that I one time had a house with so many rooms I couldn't count them all. I bet you couldn't imagine I had 15 different beaux who would beg and beg to take me to a ball. picture me the time I went to Paris in the fall. And who would think the man I loved would be quite so handsome, quite so tall. Well, it's through. It's just a memory I have, one I almost forgot, 'cause the weather's so hot and I'm feeling so bad about a date. Oh, wait, I'm such a fool. He's just a guy who stopped to buy me something cool.
I'll read mine, okay?
Okay, very good.
Right. How you doing? I wrote my little piece, and there's a lot of stuff people have already said, but I'm going to say it again because you can't say too much good, too much nice. The word that comes to mind when I remember Beegie Adair is elegance. She was a class act all around. As a person, as a musician. As a person, she had the highest standards for honesty, ethics, kindness, and intellect. She was a very principled human being, and it showed in the way she interacted with other people, always polite, always understanding and accepting, always giving the benefit of the doubt, sometimes to a fault. It showed in her love of nature, her garden, which she put into a land trust to protect. It showed in the way she loved animals, her pets, and her work she did with the Williamson County Animal Center. It showed in her knowledge of literature, poetry and prose, art and movies. As a musician, she always had the highest standards as well. She knew the great American songbook from the inside out, having grown up in a home full of music. From an early age, Beegie knew she was a musician, not just by choice, but by fate. She studied classical piano in college, where she also played in jazz and dance bands. This is where she learned jazz standards from classmates including bassist Chuck Sanders, who went on from Western Kentucky to play up in New York with a lot of famous bands, including Maynard Ferguson, and pianist Mike Longo, who was probably her best friend, who was Dizzy Gillespie's band leader and pianist for years. After college, she taught school for a couple of years, but the calling to be a musician was strong, so she moved from Kentucky to Nashville to play music and soon became a first call session and gig musician. I remember my first gig with her. It was in 1988. I just moved to town, and it was a place called the Triple Crown in downtown Nashville. It was a jam session led by Jim Williamson, a great trumpet player, arranger, and band leader, and Beegie was the piano player on that gig. Folks were sitting in, calling tunes, no lead sheets, no fake books. Beegie knew every tune and was swinging hard. I knew I had found a musical soulmate. At that time, I began playing a lot with Beegie in different settings. A couple of years later, drummer Chris Brown moved to town, and Lori and I began playing with him. After a while, Beegie began using Chris, and the trio was born. In the mid-90s, Green Hill contacted Beegie about doing a trio recording. It was to be an instrumental tribute to Frank Sinatra. That CD sold very well, and a new era of Bee Gees' career began. It was during the recording of the Green Hill CDs that I developed an appreciation of how deeply she really understood the repertoire. We needed remarkably little preparation to do these recordings. We would get together once to discuss what tunes would be on the album, and once more to formulate an approach to the arrangements. And sometimes those approaches we formulated actually made it onto the record. Sometimes it seemed like she had so much music in her, so many ideas, that she'd never play anything the same way twice. I remember Jack Jezro, the producer, we'd do a rehearsal take, and Jack would say, "Yeah, that's the intro I want. Play that again." And the tape hadn't been rolling, so she couldn't remember exactly what it was, and then she'd play something better. So it was just a fountain. Then we would go into the studio and record 12 to 14 tunes in 2 days. This was possible due to her vast knowledge of the repertoire. We went on to do 36 trio recordings of standards and jazz tunes. We also did a large number of recordings with other artists for Green Hill, including Denis Solee and George Tidwell, Jack Jezro and Jeff Steinberg, many others. Monica here? Do you know how many CDs the trio actually appeared on? 36 trio CDs, but the whole catalog.
There's over 100.
Yeah, over 100. That's a lot of tunes. We had a steady Thursday night at F. Scott's that became a workshop for us. That steady gig afforded us an opportunity to try out new tunes and arrangements. Many of the arrangements that evolved there became stock repertoire for the trio. Due to the Green Hill CD's popularity, Bee Gees' popularity grew internationally, and concert opportunities began to arise. Bee Gees did a solo tour to Japan, and later returned with the trio to play 4 sold-out shows at the Cotton Club in Tokyo. The trio played London twice at the famous Pizza Express Jazz Club. We began yearly gigs with Monica Ramey at Birdland in New York and trio concerts at Carnegie Hall. BG also became a Steinway artist and began doing solo performances at Steinway showrooms around the country. I was invited to join her on some of those as a duo, and again was reminded of her vast knowledge of the songbook and jazz repertoire. Preparation for the duo concerts consisted of BG writing down the names of 5 tunes. We would go on stage and play those 5 tunes, and then she would take requests from the audience. Whatever they asked for, she knew it, and we played it. Again, no lead sheets, no fake books. Many of the requested songs we had never played together, or in a few cases, never at all. Sometimes it didn't go as expected. At one of the Steinway concerts, BG called on a lady who had her hand up to make a request. The lady said her husband, who had recently passed away, was a huge jazz fan, and Beegie Adair was his favorite pianist. So would she play his favorite song? Beegie said, of course, and asked her what the favorite song was. The lady replied, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. No lead sheets, no fake books.
First of all, George Tidwell, we love you. Sorry you're not here tonight, but you are here. We love you very much. In 2004, after one of my student performances at NJW, this tiny blonde woman came up to me and she said, you don't know me and I don't know you yet, but my name is Beegie Adair, and from now on I want you to take my classes here at the workshop. I'm going to take you under my wing. From that point on, I took every single class I could with BG. I even helped her prep for classes, and I audited the classes I wasn't eligible to take. We became fast friends, and she was eager to guide and support my career however she could. But that was Beegie. She never knew a stranger, and she could always find the good in others. She did not suffer fools lightly, however, but she always led with grace and intelligence, traits she inherited from her mom, Bobby. She had Kentucky fire in her belly, courtesy of her grandparents, Sally and Grover Long, and her dad, A.G. Even in protest, she was thoughtful and kind. When she was ready to end an argument or a debate, she'd simply say, "You may be right." Oh, that would just stop you in your tracks every time. Her wit was world class, and I have a favorite story, and I hemmed and hawed over telling this. So there's a lot of vulgarity in it. So if there are children listening or you just don't like to hear cuss words, please close your ears now, because I'm going to tell this story. And I do apologize for it, sort of. Beegie was the house pianist for the Johnny Cash show. An arranger from LA came in with one of the artists for that particular show, and he was ranting about something that wasn't going as planned, and said something along the lines of, "If we don't fix this, it's all going to be fucked up." And then he turned to Beegie, the only woman in the room, and he said, "I'm so sorry to swear in front of you, honey." And without hesitation, Beegie said, "I don't care if you say fuck, just don't call me honey." I'm so glad that went over well. Thank you. Okay. She was a feminist, and she always spoke up for what she felt was right and just. And I have 6 decades worth of letters to editors and local and national newspapers and magazines to prove it. Her name and phone number proudly and accurately published with most of them. She was a 4th-generation Democrat, something she was profoundly proud of, but she valued a thoughtful debate. And until the last few years of her life, she found having a difference in political views is something that brought 2 people together by conversation, not an offense. Years after working with Ray Stevens, he saw her in a grocery store and he said, "I miss you, come back to the band. I don't have anyone to argue politics with." But no matter how passionate she was about a cause or political action, she led with kindness and grace. It was who she was. It was not a front. For those of you who may not know, I was her manager and a dear friend. I relocated to Franklin after Billy, her husband, passed away in 2014 to be closer to her and ensure she had all the resources and help that she needed to continue to work and to live a happy life. I spent more nights at her house than my own for either just slumber parties or to take care of her. And during COVID, we became official roommates. I moved in with my animals, and we all piled up together, 4 cats in all, to ensure that we could be safe together. And one of the things I miss most about Beegie is our nightly hangs. She was a homebody. She loved sitting in her kitchen, reading the paper, watching and talking about the news. She loved sharing stories and reciting song lyrics, which almost all of them made her cry. She could spend hours cooking even the simplest of dinners, and each night she'd retire to the den and we'd watch a movie, then The Golden Girls or Andy Griffith. She was a creature of habit. She lived very well and simply. She loved talking, movies, reading. She loved her animals and her friends. Her popularity was soaring by 2010, and she needed someone who she could trust to help her manage both her personal and professional obligations. And that's when I started working with her, first as her personal assistant, and then later booking her in venues that we've talked about already. I tried so hard at times to get her to pull a diva card for things that and she just wouldn't budge. It just wasn't her style. Like, you know, someone I'd want to meet backstage, something or whatever. She wouldn't do it. Beegie was never completely aware of the impact that she had on musicians and her fans. She wasn't built for that kind of ego, and it completely shaped the way I view my job and my career, thankfully. She made music because she genuinely loved music. all kinds of music. She wasn't a snob. She always said there's no such thing as a bad gig. She would lament not being asked sometimes to play projects she thought she was a better choice for, but she didn't hold it against the musicians or the contractors. She respected the trade. And BG led with a lot of trust. If someone knocked on her door looking for work, she'd not only give them work, but she'd let them in, feed them, get to know them, their family. During COVID, she continued to pay everyone that worked for her because she knew they needed the money, and she just wanted to help. She made large contributions to her favorite venues during COVID because she wanted to ensure I always had a place to play. And through it all, she trusted me with her company and her career. I don't have a great degree in business, and I didn't have any experience booking or managing anyone prior to her. But she saw something in me that, quite honestly, I had yet to see in myself. And she created a safe space for me to learn, to figure things out, and to think outside the box for her and for us. I don't pretend that my contributions ultimately elevated her career in many ways. Her talent did that. But I do believe that her ability to see good in others and her desire to always feel equal to those around her are among the reasons she was so successful. I now have the distinct privilege of operating the Bobby L. Adair Estate and the Adair Music Group, LLC. BG left me with a lifetime of work to do on her behalf, and just as I promised her, I promise all of you that I intend to celebrate and protect BG's legacy for the rest of my life. I'm forever grateful for her and for those who have allowed us, I'm forever grateful for her and for those who have allowed us the chance to mourn her so deeply with kindness, patience, and respect. So thank you. While I have a lot of stories, obviously, I will use her social media platforms and the various ways to continue to share them. Updates on Grover and Quigley, who would have loved to have performed for you here tonight, her cats. Quigley's pretty famous. They have their own Instagram page and everything, so you can follow them. Keep you posted on her beautiful gardens and flowers at her home. And I'll certainly let you know, all of her fans worldwide, about projects Adair Music Group will release in years to come. My thanks to Eric Diltz and the Franklin Theater. BG loved this theater. We spent a lot of time here listening to live music and buying rows of seats during the holidays to treat our friends to the classic movies. She was a member of the 1937 Club and patron for its restoration in 2008. Eric extended the invitation to host this event with open arms. His team here has been absolutely amazing, and this event has not been easy to plan. So Amy, Shay, Eric, Noah, Julie, and everyone at the theater, thank you so very much. BG would be so humbled and very proud. This one's hard. To Roger and Lori, and the NJW family, including Steve Stokes, who did these beautiful videos you continue to see. Thank you for your unwavering love for BG. NJW was BG's most prized organization to support. You've heard about her involvement, so I'll skip through all that. But she was very proud to perform there on a regular basis, and she never missed an opportunity on the stage to call out the Chamber of Commerce for not properly acknowledging all of the genres and musicians that make Music City the special place it is. To Jeff Steinberg, our musical director and our dear friend, thank you for the leadership and your resounding talents and love that touched all of us performing tonight. Thank you. I owe you. Whew. To all the musicians and speakers who gave their time and talents to perform, you were BG's favorites. She adored all of you, and I planned this event as if she was sitting front row center, enjoying you. She would have been so completely overwhelmed by the power of music and friendship tonight, and words could never express my gratitude to each of you, so thank you. To Melissa Hansen, one of the best friends anyone could have, and she's our event coordinator, and all the volunteers, thank you as well. Gina Binkley designed those beautiful programs that you have. She helped design these beautiful posters of BG and the posters that are out in the lobby for sale. Jimmy Vickers and Brian Schaefer put together, they're dear friends of BG's, they put together these beautiful flowers. Ellen Pryor helped us with the media, Copy Solutions donated a lot of printing. And lastly, Brandon and Mirandy Herrenbrook for this gorgeous Steinway and Sons D. Was provided by the Steinway Piano Gallery of Nashville. BG was profoundly proud to be a Steinway artist, and now she's a Steinway immortal. And Brandon is family to us, and I'm forever grateful to Steinway and Sons for all the support and love they gave BG and continue to show to me. Thank you. And BG's fans everywhere, you are the best fans in jazz. Thank you a million times over for everything that you continue to do. And lastly, I want to thank BG's trio mates. I got this. Chris Brown and Roger Spencer for their decades of music, laughter, and the stories you provided and created for BG. You were the other two legs of her three-legged stool, her ball team. The brothers she wanted to have, and she was your biggest fan. Chris could not be here tonight. He's devastated, and we are too, but he and Roger were BG's dearest, and I feel the same way. I love you both very much. I'm almost done. I kindly ask a couple of things. If you're watching tonight or from afar here, follow me, BG, on social media. We've got a lot to share coming up, and I really want to be able to spread the word and cast a wider net with all the great things that we're going to do for her. Also, we have a full store set up in the lobby, and a portion of all the proceeds from the store will benefit the Franklin Theater and NJW tonight. And if you're watching from home, you can go to beegieadair.com, and that applies there as well. So please consider buying some things on the way out. And I just want to thank everyone for watching and being a part of this. We've got a few more songs for you, and then we'll ask you to drive safely. The musicians afterwards, they will gladly, some of them are going to come out and sign posters for you if you'd like. You have a chance to thank them as well for all that they've done. So now it's bittersweet. But ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I introduce the Beegie Adair Trio.
Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. We'll send you home with a little Duke Ellington. How about that? Thank you. Please come back and see us. Once again, Chris Brown, Roger Spencer, my indispensable guys. Thank you so much. And you know where we are now, so come back and see us. I'll play you my favorite song to walk out on. Thank you and good night. Have a safe trip home. Everybody, safe travels.
I'm a Johnny-come-lately into Bee Gee's life. I only knew her for 7 of her last years. But during that time, I learned to love that gifted and kind, amazing, talented woman. Being in the studio with her was like no other experience before. It was a collegiality that was laced strongly with high regard and respect. And she surprised me and I surprised her. And that brought a smile to both of our faces. And when you threw Monica Ramey in the mix, ooh, it was wonderful. It was a great experience. I've worked over the years as an actor and as a musician with some big name artists. I've come to know some major jazz figures, and I've been privileged to have many of them record my music. But there was no relationship quite like the one I had with Bee Gee. Yeah. It was so genuine, a real friendship, a love that was born out of a shared love for music. And I'll miss her. I'll miss her often. I'm sorry we didn't get to do the new project that we were planning together. But the time we did have was filled with joy. It was so gratifying, satisfying, so inspiring to me, and I can only imagine how she has inspired so many people over so many years of her life. We'll miss you, Beegie. We love you. I want to say thank you to all of the musicians and the volunteers, the staff at both the Franklin Theater and the Nashville Jazz Workshop, and mostly to all of you for loving and supporting the music and legacy of Beegie Adair. Please shop at the Beegie Adair store on the way out and donate to these wonderful organizations, and drive safely. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for watching on the internet all around the world. So, let's take this out swinging on one of Beegie's most requested hits. Good night, everyone.
Highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Yeah. From Chicago to LA, 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. It's pretty. When you make that California trip, get your kicks on Route 66. city is mighty pretty. See Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona, Kingman, Buster, and learn to beat on you. Get hip this time of tip. When you have that California trip, get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Yeah, baby. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Give it up for the band. Come on.
Yeah.
Charlie McCoy.
These amazing musicians, please. Yes.
Yeah. Denis Solee. Jim Ferguson. Clifton Davis. Lori Mechem. Jeff Steinberg. Roger Spencer. Rick Reed. Andy Reiss. Delbert McClinton. Mandy Barnett. Who am I missing? Thank them all. Thank you all. Good night.